I'm Madam Joyce from Educare TZ. I'm teaching biology, and today I'll be with you, my advanced level student, to discuss our topic, which is coordination and irritability. This is very interesting topic. And within this topic, we are going to discuss on our subtopic, which it is called the nervous coordination in mammal. We are going to discuss nervous coordination in mammal. But before we are proceeding more further to see our main concern in our today's session, we have to recall ourselves on where we end on this subtopic on the last session. Thereby, we try to look on the structure of the synapse. Tukasema kuna ni structure of the synapse. Tukasema synapse ni gap, or is just like a junction that separates between one neuron and another neuron. So here, after we have seen the general structure, that is presynaptic membrane, postsynaptic membrane, the content which are found within it, neurotransmitters, and so on. So my student, in our today's session, as I promised you in the last session, that in this session we are going to begin to looking on the synaptic transmission of the nerve C impulse. So how the nerves are transmitted within the synapse is where now we are going to discuss. Remember, my student, don't mix these things. Transmission of impulse within the neuron and synaptic transmission of impulse within the synapse. There are two things which are quite really different. Though they just like zinafanana, lakini zina utofauti mkubwa sana. So you have to be very careful if you have been asked explain synaptic transmission of the nerve C impulse. Hapa ashakwambia kabisa synaptic, meaning that kivipi impulse inasafiri ndani ya synapse kwenda kwenye another neuron. Lakini akikwambia transmission of the nerve C impulse, hiyo almost itakuwa ni kwenye neuron. So don't mix these two things. So here now, as I have said, we are discussing on the synaptic transmission of the nerve C impulse. So now we can say that the nerve C impulse passes down the dendrite through the cell body and down the axon. That is obvious. Kwa maana kwamba nerve C impulse inatokea kule kwenye cell body. Tukisema cell body, I hope you know what is the cell body. That is found within the neuron, because we have already covered about the structure of the neuron. So ile nerve C impulse inatokea kwenye ile cell body of the neuron, inapita inaenda kwenye ile axon, inaenda kwenye inaenda moja kwa moja kwenye axon. Thereafter tunasema kwamba at the end of the axon, the impulse encounters a fluid-filled spaces separating the end of the axon from the dendrite of the next neuron or from the muscle cell. So mwishoni kabisa wa ile axon tunasema kwamba there is ile impulse it encounter fluid-filled spaces separating the axon, the end of the axon from the dendrite. Kwamba ile impulse inakutana na fluid material. Zile fluid material tunasema kwamba ndipo ambapo sasa zina separate between that axon and that axon from one neuron and another dendrite ambayo inapatikana kwenye another neuron. So here you have to know that at the end of axon, kwa maana kwamba zile neuron zinavyokuwa zina connect au zinavyokuwa zimejiunganisha, inatoka kwenye axon. Baada ya axon ina connect au inajiunganisha na structure nyingine ambayo inaitwa dendrite of other neuron. So here we can say that the space is called the synapse. Sasa ule uwazi uliokuwa kati ya axon na ile dendrite nyingine ya other neuron ndiyo ambayo tunaita synapse. This we have already covered it on the structure of the synapse. But here we have to know first, before we are proceeding more further, to discuss how the nerve impulses are transmitted within the synapse. So that's the very important thing that you have to know. But also we are saying that the synapse is located at the junction of the neuron and the muscle's fiber is called the neuromuscular junction. Sasa tunasema ile synapse ambayo iliyo located au ile junction iliyo kuwepo kati ya neuron na muscles. A good example here we can take a motor neuron, kwa sababu kwenye motor neuron ndio ambayo ina encounter with the muscle, that is effector. Kwa hiyo sasa tunasema kwamba ile sasa junction iliyokuwepo kati ya ile kati ya ile neuron na ile muscles tunaita sasa neuromuscular junction. So now we can say that such synapse can be classified based on the means of transmission of the impulse across the gaps. Kwa hiyo sasa kwa mfano hiyo neuromuscular junction ina tofauti mkubwa na other junction or another synapse that is found in different kinds of part of the body, kwa sababu transmission of the nerve impulse across the neuron across the neuron together with that muscle zinakuwa ni tofauti zaidi. So now tunasema kwamba in this topology, two types of revealed named electrical synapse and chemical impulse are evolved. So we have almost two types of synapse. Na ndio maana according to your level, you have to know to explain the structure of the chemical impulse. But also you have to keep it into your mind that there is two kind of synapse. The first is the electrical synapse. The second one, it is called the chemical synapse. So what is an electrical synapse? Tunasema kwamba an electrical synapse is the one in which the physiological continuity between pre and postsynaptic neuron is provided by a special channel called the gap junction between two neurons. Kwa hapa ile transmission of the nerve impulse between one neuron and another neuron, it is facilitated by that junction which is occurring between one neuron and another neuron. Hiyo ndio inaitwa electrical transmission or electrical synapse. That is, we have seen that is the one in which the physiological continuity between pre and postsynaptic neuron is provided by a special channel called the gap junction between the two neurons. Kwa hiyo sasa hiyo ndio inaitwa electrical synapse. Lakini ile chemical synapse, we have already seen it in the last session and we have already described the structure of it. So I hope you are aware with it. But here you have to know that within the synapse we have almost two types of the synapse. The first one is the electrical synapse. The second one, it is called the chemical synapse. So now we can say that these channels are capable of passing an electric current, causing voltage changes in the presynaptic cells to induce voltage changes in the postsynaptic cells. Kwa hiyo sasa, during transmission of the nerve impulse between one neuron and another neuron, there is a change of the voltage gate. Or tunasema kwamba there is what is it? We are saying that it causing voltage changes in the presynaptic membrane. So within the presynaptic knob ndipo ambapo panaanza kutokea changes. Zile changes ndizo ambazo zita bring about the release of the neurotransmitter which are found within the presynaptic membrane and cause transmission of the nerve impulse. But also we can say that the synapse can be effective. The synapse can be effective when the neurons are very closer together. Kwa hile tunaita synapse inaweza ikawa ina umuhimu au tunasema kwamba synapse can be effective when the neurons are very close together, pale ambapo neurons zinakuwa zinakaribiana kabisa, about 2 nanometer, ndipo ambapo inakuwa very effective in transmission of the nerve impulse. But also we can say that the main advantage of electrical synapse is that it facilitates the rapid transfer of the signal from one cell to the next. Kwa maana kwamba ile transmission of the nerve impulse inatokea between one neuron and another neuron inatokea kwa haraka zaidi, Na ndio maana hapa tumesema kwamba it facilitates the rapid transfer of the signal from one cell to another. Huo ndio umuhimu mkubwa wa kuwa na hii electrical synapse. So my student, thereby we have already covered about the electrical synapse. That's the first type of the synapse. So in the next session, or in the next part of this session, because we have got two parts, so the next part of this session is where now we are going to begin to discuss another kind of the synapse that is called the chemical synapse. So thank you for attentive listening.